Alright, what is going on, everybody? It is your host, J Money here, and welcome back to episode 18 of J Money Talks podcast. And this one is a big episode. Yep. Sorry if it's been a week or two without an episode. I've been busy. Mostly, I hung out with a friend for birthday, and just took some time to chill for the holidays and stuff. And we're kind of getting to a part at work where it's going to get a little busy. So, trying to record episodes is going to be a little difficult, especially during the month of December. So, I think we're going to do like smaller episodes, maybe try at least keep them down to like maybe 2 or 3 big topics and then head on into it. So, for this episode, I would usually go into maybe some NFL football. I mean, big thing is I would love to talk about the Ravens struggles. I could talk about the fact that the Ravens and Steelers is getting postponed to Tuesday because some strength coach decided to give everyone the goddamn COVID. Decided to bring Corona chant into the goddamn practice facility, and she decided to give everyone a piece. Basically, treating the goddamn practice facility like a fucking merry-go-round where everyone got a ride. Everyone. I can talk about that while this game is now delayed, that was supposed to be played yesterday. At the time of this recording, it is November 27th, 2020. Could have been played yesterday, which was Thanksgiving, to where it could have been played Sunday afternoon, to now it's going to be played on Tuesday night. Where I'm at the point of saying, like, damn it, Baltimore, just forfeit the goddamn game. So, yeah, that's one thing I could talk about. I could talk about how college basketball is now back. Louisville this moment is now 2-0. It's now 2-0, and I'm happy that college basketball is kind of back. NBA is on the horizon, because right now at this point, since the Ravens are kind of had the expectations of pretty much being a Super Bowl contender, it's now starting to feel very dashed, and right now we're in the hunt, and now we're kind of on the outside looking in. I feel like we're probably going to have to. I'm kind of looking forward towards basketball now. So, yeah. Let's just say I'm happy. I'm probably going to be focused more on basketball for a minute. So, yeah. That's also one thing. And I could talk about a couple other things. But for this one, nope. Because, let's say, last week, it involves me. It's all something I was a part of for quite a while, especially for a while, and that was competitive Super Smash Bros. Yes, back then I was a part of the Super Smash Bros. Community, the competitive scene, back in when I was 19, when I was like 19, 20 years old. So, for a while back. And, well, this happened actually last Thursday on November 19th, where the Nintendo of America, issued a cease and desist to the Big House, which is one of the biggest Smash tournaments of the year, usually held every fall in around October, sometimes in December, in November. What happened is, if you're wondering what happened, Nintendo, it said of usual Nintendo tournaments, it was going to be ran on December the 4th, which is actually next week, on the weekend of December 4th to the 6th, which was next week. That was the plan. There was going to be this would be an online version of the Big House where there would be Melee and Super Smash Bros. Melee, which was the second game of the Super Smash Bros. Series, and the most recent edition, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is on the Nintendo Switch. Now, you're probably wondering, how was a Melee tournament going to happen in 2020? Like, how is that possible? And how are they going to do it online? Now, if you're wondering, right, how are they doing a Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament? Isn't it on the Nintendo GameCube? Yes, it is, but it is actually being run. There's a way of doing online net play on the Switch, which involves the emulator known as Dolphin, the Wii U / Game Boy, the Wii / GameCube emulator known as Dolphin, and would be using the Melee ROMs. That would be the case. Well, recently this year, a developer by the name of Fizzy created a mod to the Dolphin emulator called Slippy, which installed rollback netcode. Now you're wondering, what is rollback netcode? In terms of most fighting game players, the best way I can say is it pretty much it compensates whatever frames of lag it is, and helps compensate the frames. It helps compensate lag. It's a good netcode. If it's implemented, it helps compensate lag. And pretty much if you're playing, it helps create a more offline, creates the experience online more, feel like more of an offline match. It's hardly seen at all, hardly seen in much cases, but it is actually pretty good online. Is being used in, most recently, a few popular fighting game developers in SNK has brought back in a couple of their games titled Garo Mark for Wolves and the Kina Fighters Ultimate Match 2002 Unlimited Match. They actually pretty much added rollback netcode to those games, and they are pretty much selling pretty well. And most recently, Arc Simpson Works, a developer / a popular fighting game developer in Japan, talked to a group of developers who ended up actually did a mod of themselves to add rollback netcode to their game, and they decided to add those developers to their team to add that rollback netcode into into one of their games which is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core R+. I think I got the name right. I know it's a mouthful. Trust me, it is. But Melee was going to use that mod Slippy to create this to use for the Melee tournament, which was the Big House was going to do. The Big House ends up issuing a statement because Nintendo gave him a cease and desist. The statement reads as follows. The Big House is heartbroken to share we've received a cease and desist from Nintendo of America Incorporated to cancel our upcoming online event. We were informed we do not have permission to host or broadcast the event, primarily due to the usage of Slippy. Sadly, our competitions are affected. We are forced to comply with the order and cancel the Big House online for both Melee and Ultimate. Refund information will be sent shortly. We apologize to all those impacted. Nintendo actually produced a statement to Kotaku via an email to Kotaku. I forgot to mention this before I left, but I want to at least mention what I thought about what this statement that Nintendo made. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting game community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. We have partnered with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past and have hosted our own online and offline tournaments for the game, and we plan to continue that support in the future. Unfortunately, the upcoming Big House tournament announced plans to host an online tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee that requires the use of illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippy during their online event. Nintendo therefore contacted the tournament organizers to ask them to stop. They refused, leaving Nintendo no choice but to step in to protect its intellectual property and brands. Nintendo cannot condone and allow privacy of its intellectual property. The truth is, in actuality, backing up your own copies for video games for personal use is actually illegal by U.S. copyright law. There's actually multiple cases that it's actually legal. Emulation is legal in the United States. So, take that information how you will. Nintendo basically is trying to stop something that is actually kind of borderline legal, basically. So if you actually want to know why they kill off the big house, basically Nintendo thinks they're doing some piracy, which I don't think is happening because I don't think they would actually use like they were just trying to give out free ROMs to any attendees. I don't think that's happening. I'm probably sure someone would just have a physical copy of Smash, or get a physical copy from a secondhand store, from a used game store, or get it from probably their neighbor, or get it at a garage. They find it at a garage sale somewhere. So, yeah, Nintendo, you're kind of trying to add some issues which is non-existent. So, yeah, take that information out you will. So, plus I don't think if you heard earlier about what I've said earlier, yeah, let's just say I think that statement is kind of bullshit, honestly. And I think that's my thought about it. So Nintendo started this, ended up starting this thing recently. It's happened as a result. Nintendo decided, as a result of Nintendo ordering a cease and desist, a large contingent of Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee community, which is probably the largest Monster Smash community in general, came out and pretty much told Nintendo, that is bullshit. It's kind of bullshit. You need to and very much a lot of news sites also came in on this statement among a lot of things, saying it was a bad call. It was a bad call. There is actually an article by Kotaku who would probably make it more similar, explain this a whole lot better, which I will put in the description box below. One of the things is, it helped a lot when, especially when because most of the tournaments is very grassroots and will require in-person attendance. But since COVID-19 has happened, you can't really have a gathering more than 25 people. And let's just say, Smash tournaments in general have more than 25 people more than 25 people. So, yeah, not happening whatsoever until either A, a vaccine happens, or B, we can all get our shit together. So because of the players being upset about this situation, multiple players went in and voiced their displeasure to Nintendo, and with the hashtag #FreeMelee. As one of the 5 gods of the game, who is pretty much one of the best players in the world, Joseph Mango Marquez wrote on Twitter, "Remember this when you buy their shitty Pokemon game for the 100th time." Adam Armando Lindgren, another top Melee player, one of the best of all time, he says, "Of all the shit from Nintendo, this takes the prize. It's a global pandemic going on, and again, Nintendo once again wants the competitive scene to suffer. Is it too much to ask that people can play and compete in games from home during this time?" The Slippy developer himself, actually said in his own statement, "With Slippy Online, I've worked hard to create as close to an authentic in-person experience as possible. The Melee community has been clear in expressing their gratitude. It has enabled competing in and watching top-level competition without requiring risky gatherings. I am disappointed that Nintendo is restricting our ability to power through these hard times." Well, this is not the first instance the Big House has had issues with Nintendo. Nintendo has sponsored this tournament before in the past, so I think even if that was the case, now if Nintendo was told hey, we're actually going to use Dolphin for the event, I think it probably would have still went on without a hitch. Now that code would be a little sus and would be difficult to how you would broadcast that. But hey, who knows? Who knows what have happened? What would have happened? So yeah. But Nintendo isn't the first time that Nintendo would actually would try to do some stuff with the Melee community before, as in 2017, in the 2017 version of the Big House, they issued a venue-wide ban on third-party box-style controllers, as there is recently a group called Hitbox made a box-style controller with buttons that was based on a Smash controller, which is called like the Smash Box, which is called the Smash Box, which basically was an easier way which is actually an interesting way of playing the game, and they actually had to ban it because Nintendo was like, yeah, we only allow pretty much the usage of our controllers and not any of this, so not happening. So, and then let's not forget that Nintendo also kept the game from appearing in 2013, as they ended up raising almost $100,000 for breast cancer research and a donation drive to EVO, as EVO was trying to host a donation drive for winning community for a spot at EVO in 2014, which they actually tried to, where like the day before the tournament began, Nintendo kind of told the Evolution Championship Series, or EVO, that hey, you're not going to, you cannot host or broadcast the event in any way, shape, or form. And the internet blew up on them and told them like, yo, you need to change your mind. Come on, we raised like over $100,000 to get this game on that stage. Please, we need this. And Nintendo was like, okay, let you guys go, because right now we're kind of looking like the people who were kind of just telling everybody, fuck the titties, basically, at that point. So, that is the kind of a case here. Is the Big N pretty much right now is at a point where it is a question of Nintendo is at this point in time pretty much is now getting probably getting talked about now, in this case involving this, about their decision over this whole thing. That was the case until why is this trying to get rid of this? Okay, there we go. So that was actually the case, where it was free Melee for a little bit, to now, for a little while later, to actually now later on. So now, in actuality, it is. So now a few days go by later on that now. So a few days go by, and recently, a few days ago, we actually have there's a hashtag called Free Smash. It turned from hashtag Free Melee to now hashtag Save Smash, because recently a twit longer by a Twitter account at Anonymous Smash 2 released a twit longer titled "How Nintendo Has Hurt the Smash Community." There are a lot of bits and pieces about this. This was a thing that was written months prior to Nintendo sending the CD to the Big House, and it explains that, basically, in a whole summary, as I read bits and pieces of it, it was basically that Nintendo has been held back in terms of being like more legitimized and pretty much having tournament circuits and stuff like that, legitimate tournament circuits, by a lot of actions by Nintendo. The Twitline release states, this was written months prior to Nintendo sending a CD to the Big House. It was not written with that context in mind. This is being released anonymously for obvious reasons. To begin, I want to state that I am not a journalist. What I am writing below is directly from what I've been told by the individuals who work at these companies or are deeply familiar with the business dealings of these companies by the nature of their position in esports. I did not obtain emails, contracts, or documents to verify their claims. I am merely trusting their word. If a journalist wants to take it to the next level to check everything, I would encourage it. I also want to point out that what I write below does not just include Melee, as we described earlier. What I am about to describe applies to Smash 4, which is the game prior to Ultimate, which is actually the game I got my competitive start in. Ultimate, and even Brawl as well, which is actually the first Smash game I played, not competitively, but as a regular, casual person, that introduced me to the series, actually. Game that introduced me to the series. All Smash scenes have been held back by Nintendo's actions, which is kind of true because, especially, now you're probably thinking, what about the people who played the original Smash game? There is actually a competitive scene, a competitive Smash 64 scene, which, in a way, kind of would get affected because anything negative that happens with Melee or Ultimate or something kind of trickles down to Smash 64, and yeah, so it is true that basically anything get held back by Nintendo's actions. It does affect the people who do play Smash 64 a ton. I am writing this for the purpose of making the community at large aware of the things that I and many others of the community have been aware of for years. But we're simply unwilling to talk about publicly because of the hope that Nintendo would make something happen. That hope is pretty much gone from me now, so I feel completely okay with sharing what I know. So, for the longest time, it's been known that Nintendo has wanted to avoid supporting the Smash esports scene in a way that helps us grow past grassroots level. Nintendo is this entity that, for cultural and or financial reasons, has simply chosen not get involved in esports with Smash, at least not on a level that publishers get involved with most major esports. Now, this part here is kind of true, and I can understand there's a part of it, because in some Japanese law, they deem esports like competitive gambling, where, it's gambling, and it's an outdated thing goes back to, centuries, and it's a weird thing that got corrected, either in 2018, late 2018, early 2019, and I think the limits to prize pots were very, very small. And there was actually a story about a popular fighting game player named Momochi kind of foregoing a huge tourney prize pot in protest to the law, and it's something there. So we can understand why that Nintendo would want to avoid doing anything esports, because if a family-friendly company like them supports esports in Japan, they kind of look at it like, oh, you're supporting gambling? They're supporting gambling, so there's a negative stigma there. So I think I can understand why they would not want to get involved in esports whatsoever, or at least at that level that publishers get involved with it. We've heard quotes from top executives at Nintendo many times about their disinterest in competitive gaming. We accept this because it is their intellectual property and they can have whatever vision they see fit for it. That is the case. That makes sense because the idea of what Smash is, it's a party game. You and a group of friends just play your favorite Nintendo characters or other favorite video game characters like Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Solid Snake, or Ryu, or of course, most recently, Minecraft Steve, which came out in the most recent DLC pack. So, their vision is seen this way. However, Nintendo's stance feels less innocent when you understand that they also deliberately prevent other entities from helping our scene through various actions or inaction. Furthermore, these acts have gone on while stamping their names on our grassroots events or inviting a few of our personalities to their events. We regularly get a smidgen of hope that they're taking steps in the right direction, but no significant changes ever take place. They directly benefit from our community's existence while providing relatively little support in taking actions that hurt our scene. So, this note is written to shed the light on the different ways Nintendo has stopped the scene from growing. As a part of this community, you deserve to know what many top players and influencers in the Smash scene have known for years. The only reason I speak on this now is because I feel we're now at the point where we have nothing to lose. In the past, we'd be afraid to speak publicly because there was some hope that we were so close to having a real esports relationship with Nintendo, only to have that opportunity consistently slip away. That does feel like a thing because Nintendo does sponsor a few tournaments, like they sponsored a couple Genesis tournaments. They've sponsored, I believe, a couple big house events. They've sponsored, I think they stamped their name on EVO, sponsored the EVO tournament. They're became a sponsor for EVO and a few other things. They've held a couple Smash invitationals, and they've started doing online tournaments. Have had a couple online tournaments. Online and offline tournaments recently. So, there is a thing where they're kind of dipping the water, but it's not anything like significant where it's like, hey, instead of like instead of like you guys, like the community doing these tournaments, how about this? We're going to make a circuit for you guys. Hey, guess what? We're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to give you guys a circuit. Thanks. For the game. So, for you guys who love the game, we're going to make a tournament circuit for you. Competitive circuit for you guys. So, it is a thing where now it's like, well, Nintendo actually had a real esports relationship. Here are the multiple third-party entities that have attempted to work with Smash. There are actually several entities that have attempted to work with Nintendo to create events for not just Super Smash Bros. Melee, Smash 4, which is Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Wii U, and 3DS, but mostly we're talking about the Wii U version. So, Smash 4 is the Wii U version, basically, but that's what it is. Smash 4 and Ultimate. And Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The following are just some of the bigger esports entities that were brought up to me. First is E-League. E-League is the organization that has brought Counter-Strike, Street Fighter, and many other games to ESPN, and had attempted to throw a large ESPN, technically not technically ESPN, but TBS, and also I think some stuff would get rebroadcasted onto like CBS. I think some stuff ESPN, ABC, and etc. So I kind of understand ESPN, but yeah. Other than that, the organization has brought a couple of these games onto more or less to more mainstream audiences, more mainstream TV stations back in the day, which helps out a lot. The fact that they were actually planning to throw a huge event for Smash is a big thing, especially the exposure there. Because I actually had a conversation with my father. Is like, man, if Smash was on ESPN one day, I know if Melee was on ESPN for like they did EVO, put Melee for EVO on ESPN. I know the amount of media. I already know the amount of views on that thing would be in the millions. And turns out there was going to be a thing for Smash by E-League. In the end, he only got the rights to rebroadcast the E3 Ultimate Invitational, which came out in 2018. My brothers explained to me that the rebroadcast rights served mostly as a consolation for Nintendo, as Nintendo wasn't cooperating on allowing them to run a more meaningful Smash event. So, Nintendo has wanted to get, has tried to get, E-League has tried to get Nintendo to, hey, can we try at least run a Smash event, like a great Smash event? And they're like, and Nintendo is just, nope. It's like, okay, can we rebroadcast? All right, the only thing we'll let you rebroadcast like the E3 Ultimate Invitational, which I think was on like once. I think once on TBS, and I think once on like CBS, like on a Sunday afternoon, which basically no one watched. I don't think anyone watched, so it was just all thrown on there just for the sake of being thrown on for airtime. So, yeah. Next, we go to HTC. HTC, which I believe HTC was a phone company, because I think HTC it was a well-known tech company and a phone company. Yes, a Taiwanese consumer electronics company known for, of course, you remember like the HTC Vive and a few of the other like big name phones and stuff. Like the HTC Vive and like a couple other phones. And a couple other phones, big phones back in the day. Now they're kind of not, they don't exist as much anymore. I think they're now, I think it's, but yeah, basically, and yeah, HTC, they're now known for the HTC Vive, a popular, VR headset, and they have a couple phones, but now it's not, you don't hear as much from them anymore. But back then, back in like 2015, HTC hosted a capped one-day event ran by HTC Esports. They threw HTC Throwdown. After the event in 2015, this one-day event in 2015, HTC Esports actually had interest in running a Smash circuit with more money than at the time we had ever seen in Smash. However, because an official Nintendo Twitch circuit was quote unquote just about finalized, HTC was asked to instead aim to sponsor the main circuit rather than run a competing circuit. It happened. As a result, HTC decided to back out on running this circuit under that expectation that, hey, okay, Twitch and Nintendo is going to have a circuit come up. It's coming soon. Why not? We'll just go ahead and just, see about laying a sponsor role. Maybe throw in another HTC Throwdown under the Twitch and Nintendo banner. So, as a win-win, right? So, as we now know, and this is actually in the Twitch section later on, that circuit never came to be. So, that's going to be a good one, because that one I read and I'm like, they had this ready for years and I'm upset about it, but in fact this is a thing, because this one happened at a time when I was at big time thing. So, next we got ESL. ESL is a popular circuit, I think mostly known in Europe, mostly well known for its Counter-Strike League, and I think a European League of Legends, and a few other things. Mostly European leagues in Europe. Sports leagues in Europe, I think. Most of them are. So, ESL made an attempt to work with Nintendo to run its own circuit/league, but Nintendo was largely unresponsive. They tried to make meaningful contact with the company, prepared decks to sell this idea of running its circuit and league, but it couldn't go anywhere as Nintendo would just not respond to them. They just pretty much decided not to go ghost. Now, the Anonymous Smasher says, I think it's interesting to note that Nintendo was actually willing to have Splatoon, have the game Splatoon, which is pretty much COD, but the family-friendly version. So yeah, Karens, if you really want your kids to play COD, but you don't want to deal with either the lobbies or cussing and BS, then get your kids Splatoon. It's pretty much, you're pretty much playing as Squid Kids, and shooting ink and covering the field in colored ink. It's fun. I haven't played it, but it is actually pretty fun. You should try it. I recommend it. It's for your kids. So, to the Smasher, he says that it shows that Nintendo was willing to support teams that don't thrive, that clearly does not thrive on their own, which is, of course, Splatoon, and the most recent Switch game, ARMS. But when it comes to Smash, they say, nope, we're just gonna chill and reap whatever benefits, whatever you guys do as a grassroots community. We're just gonna come back, we'll just come high and just, reap benefits. So, basically, you're pretty much just like, it feels like you pretty much, it's like you have 3 kids, right? Splatoon and ARMS are the 2 kids that their parents will put all the time and energy to, and Smash is pretty much that one kid that gets neglected all the time and just treated like shit. So, yeah, basically, they aren't going to touch Smash because they can hang back and reap the benefits that we create as a grassroots community, essentially letting us do all the work while doing nothing to help us get bigger. Next, this is a big one, which is MLG, which is a well-known, which is one of the most well-known, at the time, back in the mid to late 2000s into early parts of 2010s. MLG was a well-known video game industry that brought in a lot of tournaments have helped produce esports content for pretty much a lot and helped produce leagues and circuits for pretty much a variety of games from Call of Duty, sometimes Street Fighter, you got Tekken, I think some stuff, Call of Duty, you got Halo, you got StarCraft, you got StarCraft 2s, I think in some cases some Dota stuff, I think, and Counter-Strike, and most notably Counter-Strike, and helped bring out a lot of this stuff to the mainstream at the time, which back then, esports was the niche thing back then, So, in 2015, MLG held an event with Melee, which was MLG Anaheim back in 2015, and they later had an event with Smash 4. According to the source, the anonymous Smasher source, MLG did not continue working with Smash Melee after MLG Anaheim back in 2015 because Nintendo wanted to charge a $50,000 licensing fee per event. Keep that in mind. So let's do some math on that. 50,000 let's say 50,000 times 20. That is $1 million a year. Basically, back then, MLG, understand, esports back then was a niche thing. This is a really, where everything you have to raise, it depending on the community and a few TV deals and a few other things. Trying to produce $1 million is a hard call. That's a lot of stuff. And let's say if they wanted to do, MLG wanted to do 20 of them, yeah, they gotta pay up $1 million for a year. One season, for 1 year of, maybe 1 year. That's a lot of money, and especially back then. Which was actually over the double asking rate for Street Fighter 4. At that time, was a much more modern fighting game. And they were asking for less than more than half. So, of course, you gotta do your math here. Which one do you think they were going to go to? At the time, a 14-year-old fighting game, Smash, a Nintendo game, which is on some hardware that's hardly can be found in TVs and CRT TVs that are rare to find now, starting to die out, or you're going to go to Street Fighter 4, which is on more modern consoles, or you're going to go with Street Fighter 4, a game with more modern consoles. Pretty much, you can put it on a computer monitor, play on a computer monitor, and they're all, you can find them pretty much everywhere. Nintendo could not. They decided to go with Street Fighter 4, which makes sense. This practice to Smasher set to Anonymous says seems like a way to effectively shut down Melee and MLG without directly preventing them from actually running it. It's like, okay, we'll let you guys run it, but you gotta pay this much money. I would assume that this fee would also be charged, and no real support would be provided by Nintendo, as has been the case with some more grassroots events. Now, there have been multiple cases with. There also have been multiple cases with Nintendo and MLG, and it is well known that it's been spoken of publicly by former employees and insiders. There are multiple instances. For example, back in 2010, MLG was denied the rights to stream Super Smash Bros. Brawl back in 2010 by Nintendo. And that Nintendo denied the USA television network from ever putting the Smash portion of any MLG events back in 2006. And there is a quote from Sundance, says that from Sundance, I believe one of the main people who worked with MLG at the time, or I believe Sundance Network or something like that, we of course know that the Smash community is just as excited as we are to follow the tournament and see who makes their mark on the biggest stage in gaming. And we are committed to doing everything we can to make our coverage of the tournament as comprehensive as possible. However, I'm sorry to say that we will not be able to have a live stream for Smash in Orlando this weekend. In order to stream something like this, we have to secure live streaming rights from the game's publisher. And despite our best efforts, we have not been able to get permission from Nintendo thus far. We kept the conversation going all the way down to the wire in hopes that we'd get an 11th hour approval and could still stream the event. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. I know this is disappointing news, and believe me, we don't like it either. There's just no way around it. A company of our size simply has to play by the rules. I know a lot of you guys have seen local Smash tournaments streamed online and are probably wondering why we can't just do the same thing. The answer is because we are a real company with real visibility and real things to lose. We can't fly under the radar like a local tournament can, nor would we want to. And they have a good case there, because a local Smash tournament live stream, it will get probably maybe, I say it's like, for example, I probably can go, like, say YouTube or Twitch. I say the average, like, Smash, tournament, or average, the average Smash tournament, or average, Melee tournament. I think a lot of the games really only had, like, probably a few. Probably only had, like, at least, I don't know, like, at least, at the time when I was doing, like, also, I think at the time, when I did, stuff like this, I think I only had, like, I think there was only, like, I think the most, like, 2 or 3 viewers, maybe, watching the live stream when I was, like, commentating. I commentated, like, a couple tourney matches. Like, not many many people watching, like, are gonna watch, like, a local or regional, little regional. But if it was, say, let's say, but if it was, like, someone like, let's say, the Big House, or one of the majors, like the Big House, or CEO, or Evo, Daddy's gonna have thousands of viewers, and a lot of eyes. So, they can't, like, something like that can't be, eyes are gonna be on it, and someone like MLG, there would be thousands of people watching their event. So, this was something that was not going to happen. That Nintendo would catch on very, very quickly, no matter how much it would even try to keep it low-key. It was not going to happen. So, So, yes. The big thing is there's just no way around it. A company of our size simply has to play by the rules. I know a lot of you guys see. So I've probably said this before. They are the answer. Big answer is they're a real company who has real visibility, real things to lose. They can't fly on the radar like a local tournament can, nor would we want to. That is the big thing. Now, the MLG era back then was a long time ago, but back then, it at a time where Commander's Edge was starting to be starting to become a thing, actually impacted the scene for a while and would have been shut down except until 2013 happened, where their appearance at EVO 2013, and also the Smash Brothers documentary, which is a great documentary that described the entire Smash scene, which helped out a lot. I highly recommend you guys actually watch this. You guys should check it out on YouTube. I think I can find a link to the Smash documentary and put it in the description as well. Now we get to the two big things which I pretty much am like, which kind of got me like upset, because this is at a time where I was playing Smash competitively at a serious level, and two, I was also starting off my gaming channel and Twitch streams. So let's just say I'm probably upset myself, because even if I wasn't that good, who knows, that exposure could have helped me out a ton. So let's just say that. I'll just say that. So let's go on to Red Bull. Red Bull, initially it was Red Bull, Twitch, and Nintendo in talks to start a circuit similar to Red Bull Proving Grounds for Smash. Red Bull Proving Grounds is a well-known circuit where monthly tournaments would take place across cities in the US, and at the end of the season, the top players from each locale would come to compete in the championship event, which probably costs I think thousands of dollars. It is well known. Red Bull Proving Grounds has helped a lot of people in terms of also, let's say, Street Fighter did a couple of these Proving Grounds events and helped bring eyes to a ton of new players across the country, fresh new faces on the community, and help it bring more of an eyes on the scene. So yeah, Red Bull actually did much of the legwork to get it to launch, but it was Red Bull that was effectively cut from the conversations and the deal altogether. So now we get to Twitch. Twitch, and later removed Red Bull, had been in negotiations with Nintendo to run a sanctioned circuit for Smash, including Smash 4 and Melee starting around 2015. Twitch was fronting the cost of this deal with a budget in the millions per year. Key word here. A budget of millions of dollars per year. Keep that in mind. While Nintendo, at this time, would own the Link brand despite their lack of financial contribution. Keep in mind, back in 2014 and 2015, Nintendo was in a bad spot because before the Switch was a console they tried selling called the Wii U. And they marketed this bad boy out badly. People looked at this thing like it's a different number Wii and a whole bunch of other things. Tried to promote this gamepad, which hardly did shit, and there was hardly any games that outside of most first party games Nintendo made, which did amazing. There was hardly any third party support, and and it had a $100 price tag, and this came out at the late portion of when the PS3 and Xbox 360 was coming towards the end of its lifespan, and the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 was coming on the horizon, and Nintendo and the X and Microsoft and Sony sell their versions, sold newer, like, okay, good versions, smaller yet powerful versions of the game, of their consoles, for a cheap 250, 270, and Nintendo, no matter what, tried to keep it at 300. So yeah, let's just say Nintendo got wrecked, though. So that's the main reason I bought that thing, was just to play Smash. Was just to play Smash Bros. And that was pretty much it. Only ever game I played was probably like an Injustice port, which was alright, which not much really was there to it. It was just like I just wanted to play something for fun. So, yeah. Anyways, moving on. So Twitch was going to put millions a year into this circuit, and during this time, it seemed like Twitch was actually very close, always close to actually having these conversations. Only was close to making this deal happen, until only to just have conversations that left just a pure response, no response from Nintendo for months, which eventually just delayed the process. Eventually, around the early portion of 2018, I say late 2017, early 2018, after 3 years of possible man hours and efforts to appease Nintendo, the parties actually came to an agreement. It wasn't no verbal agreement. It wasn't just like some, handshake agreement just made in good faith. This was a literal, like, written contractual agreement. Like, signed, sealed, written on the dot line, that, hey, we are going to make a Smash circuit for both Super Smash Bros. Melee and Smash 4. And keep in mind, both Melee and Smash 4 were big at the time, back in 2017, 2018. Especially back then, Melee and Smash 4 broke attendance records for EVO. Like, people, I think they pretty much, I say thousands, I say it broke the records for most attendees at a Smash event, at EVO, for an EVO tournament. Like, it's like 5,000 plus people. Not just for Smash and Melee, and also broke, like, I think, broke viewership records on Twitch for, like, in the EVO channel, and, Mount Everest, that's how big Melee and Smash 4 was. Like, thousands of people would watch these tournaments, and thousands of people played this game. So, if that circuit happened in 2018, it would have just made Melee and Smash 4 legitimate as a major esport. Because at this point in time, if you did competitive Melee and Smash, despite the numbers, despite the viewership and everything, a lot of people in the fighting game community, the overall fighting game community, or the FCC, if you will, kind of looked at Smash as this kids game and a party game and all this stuff, and kind of like bullied them. Kind of just, you're not a fighting game. Like, get out of here. Even though I'll say this, Smash Mini, yes, it is a kids game, but there are pretty much teenagers, people pretty much my age, and people in their 30s play this game. So, I'm just saying, it's not just... the Smash fan community is a diverse group of all ages, races, shapes, sizes, genders, you name it. So, it's a big community. But the fact that this would have made this the thing that would have made it happen. For years, the Smash community has had the viewership, the engagement, and that fan base to say that, hey, we are a top esport. The only thing that kept us hold back was that that our developer just never gave us the official green light to say, hey, you guys can do these tournaments. You guys are we will allow you guys to do circuits. Here's our stamp of approval. Go ahead and do it. Now, after all the years of manpower, money, and the stress of dealing with Nintendo's bullshit over years, we have a written agreement to actually start a circuit. Now, what happened to that deal? Well, unbeknownst to anyone, Nintendo actually had plans to announce Smash Ultimate in 2018. The game came out on December 7th. December 7th of that year. What happened? Nintendo ended up going ghost on those working at Twitch even after this agreement was made. Then, once Ultimate got announced back in April of that year, Nintendo went to Twitch, back to Twitch, and actually told them, like, hey, since Ultimate's coming out, there's no reason to really have a tournament circuit for Smash 4 and Melee. So, yeah, it made no sense to them, like, keep doing Smash 4. Now, I can understand them not doing Smash 4 anymore, because at that point in time, the game was kind of dying out, because we're kind of are getting tired of, like, because back then at the late part of the Smash 4 competitive scene, we kind of was starting to see the character Bayonetta pretty much run shit, because if you don't know, that character is an OP. Like, that Umber Witch finds ways of gripping and tearing into your ass more ways than I can count, and let's just say, if you want, there's a video that can explain that shit a lot more. And then also you got Cloud in the competitive doubles, running roughshod of you if both players on the team play Cloud, dual Cloud, so yeah, let's just say everyone was kind of tired of Smash 4, and kind of tired of Bayonetta and her bullshit, so, at that time, which I kind of was getting tired of, but, yeah, let's just say, the fact there's a new game coming, that helps a lot. So, Nintendo told Twitch, hey, we're gonna wait to see how the community responds to Ultimate, and let's see if getting involved in esports with Ultimate actually made sense would make sense once the game was released. So Twitch got told, hey, you guys are gonna have to wait again, and hopefully later in the year when Ultimate comes out, we'll talk it out again. So another close call, another year delay, and no guarantee that they would make anything work once Ultimate was out. Ultimate has been out now. Ultimate's been released for about 2 years, and there has been no news inside of a circuit. As far as I've been made aware, those talks of a circuit are completely dead. The Anonymous Smasher ends up having puts his personal comments on the entities that got screwed, and this is a big thing. According to my source, the entities mentioned above, every single one of them have attempted to work with Nintendo while fronting all the costs. In other words, they attempt to work with Nintendo without asking for a dime from him. All they seek is permission. This is not the normal practice. Typically, developers front some money for themselves for a chance to run a circuit with companies like Red Bull and Twitch. In this instance, we have Twitch and Red Bull willing to put down a lot of money to run a circuit, and still hardly anything comes from Nintendo. So, yes. So that's the big thing. Every single one of these companies was willing to work with Nintendo in some way, shape, or form. With Nintendo, all the indies were going to do is like, hey, Nintendo, here's the thing, and they were doing this at a time when Nintendo hardly could have any money because they were getting fucked over by this Wii U, couldn't market the Wii U properly, and was getting screwed by that. So, one of the things is that these companies said, hey, You guys don't worry about trying to spend putting money aside to that. We'll make the money, we'll put the money up. All we need is your guys' name on that. Name on the circuit, and we got you. Because that's all that's needed is the name. If a tournament is officially sponsored by Nintendo, Nintendo probably either A, put a sponsorship, actually sponsored it. So, basically these companies, all these third-party entities said, hey Nintendo, we want to run a Smash circuit or run this maybe a Smash tournament circuit. All we ask is can you put your name on there, yay or nay? All we ask is if you can put our name on there, if you can. That was basically the plan. The normal practice is developers like Capcom would put money to the entities, to these other companies to run a circuit. Like I said, Street Fighter did that with Red Bull to promote the Red Bull Proving Grounds stuff. I believe, I think another thing is, for example, I believe, Dragon Ball, actually, I have so many circuits actually in here. He says, another thing to note is that the people who have put years and countless hours into making this work with Nintendo has worked with making circuits happen for Tekken, basically Namco Bandai, who is the developer and publisher of Tekken, also has helped develop Smash 4 and Ultimate. Mind you, Dragon Ball FighterZ, published by Namco Bandai, and also developed by Arc System Works. Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour, and also the Tekken World Tour. And then Capcom with Street Fighter, which is also the Capcom Pro Tour. There have been circuits for those games that have came into fruition within months. The negotiations were just simple. Yet for Nintendo and Smash, the process has actually taken over 5 years and counting. At a certain point, it becomes clear that Nintendo doesn't want Smash esports to ever happen. But they allow people to think it will. It will. So he decides to give his theory about why he wants to do it. And I think what he says actually is correct, because it makes perfect sense to me. So he says here, this is his personal thoughts on what all of this means. It says here, Nintendo knows there is actually benefits to keeping this seem hopeful while never shutting us down completely. Let's think about it. If Nintendo really had such a problem with Smash esports in general, they could shut it down, which is true. It is an IP that they can actually say, they can pretty much just decide, hey, no tournaments, we will no longer allow any tournaments that are not sponsored by us to be broadcasted or hosted in any way, shape, or form. They can say that whatever they want, and I can shut down a tournament, the Smash esports scene, completely, if they chose to. Likewise, if Nintendo really wanted us to succeed, they could just apply their incredible resources to make it happen. Now, the Anonymous Smasher says he has some thoughts on why we get neither outcome, and why Nintendo remains completely uncommitted to either scenario. It's just in the middle. And it's not choosing to be on the side of A, shutting us down. Shutting the scene down completely would be very bad publicity. For example, at this point in 2020, the Spanish community has a big enough of a voice to influence the actions of major corporations, including Nintendo. It is a thing, because back in 2013, like I said, back in EVO 2013, they reversed their reprehensible decision to shut down Melee stream in EVO 2013 after they raised close to $100,000 to fight breast cancer. After causing a ruckus on the internet in 5 hours, after 5 hours of creating a riot on the internet, they decide, okay, we'll let the stream be back on EVO. well, okay, alright, we'll let the stream be back on Evo. Evo, the facts of that moment actually ran out today. Now, now 7 years later, it's people that are teenagers. Teenagers who probably, where Melee is their first game, where Ultimate is now their first game, to people in my age, 20s, that came in around like the time Brawl and Smash 4 came around, to people who pretty much played this game since the beginning, who were pretty much in their 30s. Got very couple probably reaching the 40 mark. So now there is a lot of people, especially now so yeah, there are people who've grown into this series for a very long time. Now it's no longer, and now we're in an era where pretty much now that voice is strong enough where now it won't be just on the internet. It can probably be on most big news sites. Like I say this, if Nintendo shut down the esports scene completely, we will find a way of making sure that is on any and all possible big news sites. I mean, CNN will find a way of talking about it. Fox News will find a way of talking about it. NBC will find a way of talking about it. NBC, CBS, ABC. The trickle-down effect here, it will pretty much any way, shape, or form. If Nintendo shut down Smash, they can get plastered all on this thing. Would end up ending this whole thing. If Nintendo ended the whole thing, the voices will be loud, and it will be put out everywhere to where Nintendo will get shamed, and pretty much, and it would look bad for doing it. So that's why instead of helping the scene, they said like, okay, we're just gonna just pretend we're helping the scene. We'll just dip our toes. And they know they don't want us to grow, and I think won't get it later. So we're very bigger now, and they know how loud our voices are. Perhaps that is exactly why they only dip their toes and pretend to help the scene. Maybe they don't want to help us grow and get louder. Maybe they don't want to spend money on this esports thing. Maybe they think competitive Smash diverts from their vision of the game, which is deemed true. Nintendo probably wants to keep the idea that it is a competitive party brawling type game, where in competitive Smash, the rules are we play stocks, a certain amount of stocks, certain time limit. We play a very certain few stages, and yeah. And if you're playing a character that, main thing is, if you play a character that is deemed OP to us, we pretty much will roast the shit out of you and probably find a way of making you feel like shit. So, that's probably the case. That's kind of usually how it was with, actually, if you played Bayonetta, Smash 4 Bayonetta, you got bullied hard, let's just say. And all I can say is, I'm sorry for pretty much for some Bayonetta players. You guys shouldn't deserve all that at that point in time, but let's be honest, you play a character that's that good, I'm just saying you kind of were going to get roasted. So, roasting was going to happen. So, fine. However, while all that may be true, they simultaneously do what our voices give them. Do want what our voices actually give Nintendo. Marketing, which is a ton of free marketing, which of course actually makes sense. Let's be honest. Which makes sense. They're always famous for and never really pride in it, never really stopping us either. Now, you might believe that Nintendo doesn't really need the community to sell the games. Yes, that is true. However, does it actually benefit them to allow us to exist as we do? Yes, absolutely. Because let's be honest, why would you pay someone who probably never heard of Smash Brothers in general, give their thoughts about what the game is to them. They're like, oh, what's this game that has Mario and on Charizard and they don't that could be the case. Where me like, oh, Smash, it's a great fighting game. It has like a ton of stages. You have pretty much your favorite Nintendo characters like Mario, Donkey Kong. You got characters from like all the other some well-known Nintendo franchises that are pretty much known in Japan, like Marth from Fire Emblem. You got players from characters like Captain Falcon in the F-Zero series. You got also people in like, you got Mr. Game & Watch. You got, and also you can also have third-party characters like Sonic the Hedgehog. They have Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. They brought in Ryu from Street Fighter. They also have like a bunch of characters. So characters like, instead of paying someone millions of dollars to thousands of dollars to pay to promote this game, they can pay basically $100 to Enma, Joseph Mango Marquez, Adam Armada Lindgren, Jason Mewtwo King Zimmerman, $0.00 to come on to like a sanctioned little E3 tournament and to promote the game. And guess what? They get tons of viewership. Thousand people buy the consoles and support the games, buy the games and probably the consoles to support it, and it's a win-win. Nintendo gets tons of money. They don't have to pay any these influencers and anything, and these people to promote the game. So why not? That's better than nothing. I think it's very clear that Nintendo benefits from the influencers that the esports community has created. Hell, Nintendo has even used these influencers for their invitations at E3 to help promote the game. Look at it this way. Imagine a world where Smash Esports wasn't a thing, and Nintendo releases a Direct. You'd probably have quite a few people watching on their computers in the privacy of their own homes, and when it's done, they shut down and move on with their day. What we have instead are those very same people replying to eSam's tweet, sharing Leffen's video, playing Xbox's reaction on repeat. You get hundreds of millions of impressions from fans of these influencers spraying the news of the game everywhere. It doesn't take an advertiser genius to understand the power of influencer marketing. And Nintendo is getting it not just for free, but while actively suppressing our scene from getting larger. And I think that's awful. The effects of this on the scene are being felt greater than ever before. Companies don't have the same enthusiasm of working with Smash like they used to, if they're even trying at all anymore. As far as I know, ESL and ELEAGUE have nothing in the works for us, and Red Bull has resorted to clever workarounds to help us out on events without ever getting that ban hammer from Nintendo themselves. So, ESL and ELEAGUE sadly won't ever have anything in the works for us. I don't know if ELEAGUE is doing anything right now, sadly. ESL, I'm not sure if they're doing anything at all right now, so it's a shame that now ELEAGUE and ESL now, because of Nintendo being a huge dick, now is not even going to do anything with us. And Red Bull is luckily has been doing a couple things, and who knows if Twitch is going to just, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to do a circuit, we're going to help do a circuit, and we're going to do it because you guys signed the contract of doing this shit, so we're going to make a Melee circuit. Fuck it. Because fuck it. So, I don't know. Now, what major effects on the scene they've done is a big thing. For example, what are the biggest effects they have had on the scene? Well, here is this. Nintendo and grassroots events. It's a crazy world we live in when the announcement of a Nintendo improved grassroots event is considered a bad thing by pretty much much of the community. It's a near guarantee that either A, UCF, which is Universal Controller Fix, which is a little, like, I think it's a mod, it's in the GameCube or something, where they kind of made sure, like, some of the stuff in the controllers help Slippy, which we talked about earlier, the mod to the Dolphin Enemy Layer, and PM, aka Project M, which is a fan-made Brawl mod to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It's where it played like Melee, gave the UI a fresh coat of paint. Practically, if you want to describe it, it is the fan-made version of Melee HD. Super Smash Bros. Melee HD Edition. Give it a look. It's actually pretty cool. It was pretty cool at the time, back in around 2010s. Actually, it's I don't know if there's any PM stuff now, but I say search Project M and you can find probably some matches, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Won't be present. I spoke to a few TOs to get some insight on as to what comes with a Nintendo partnership for an event. For my conversations, the benefits include allowing events to use their brand, which adds legitimacy to sponsors and potential attendees. The event won't get a cease and desist, not that it would be likely to begin with, but this partnership would guarantee that it won't. And then, for some events, they're supposed to use the Nintendo VS Twitter account to post about the event. For one event in particular, Nintendo did not deliver on making this one simple tweet, but actually did during the second year. So basically, the first year they actually partnered with one event, they didn't actually make a simple ass tweet. Make a simple tweet about a tournament, which is fucked up. A top player can tweet. I say this: a top player can make a same tweet about a tournament. I'm betting you that thing will get hundreds of likes and hundreds of retweets within like a 10 minutes. Bet. So, whatever. So, that's actually it about support. Support actually varies between events after that. It says here, one TO received partial support for consoles at the event, while others did not. While no TO I spoke to received direct financial support, at least one event received indirect support via connections that enabled discounts for setups and equipment. However, every setup for Splatoon was provided by Nintendo at every event they were a part of. Nintendo would also take up floor space for Ultimate Activation Arenas before the game's release. How do I do it? For Ultimate Activation Arenas before the game's release. This is all without directly paying the tournament's organizers. So effectively, they were taking up floor space that people typically have to pay for to promote their own upcoming titles and events filled with Nintendo fans. It seems Nintendo can fully support games that they're choosing when they want to. Basically, at events where if you were trying to at least promote pretty much promote Ultimate at any event, Nintendo would try to take up any of that floor space. They probably just find ways of blocking your path or whatever, basically, or something, just to practically just block that game from being released. Ultimate still sold well. Don't get me wrong. Ultimate sold tons of copies. Don't get me wrong. So, basically, Nintendo just told the guys, nope, suck it. The final note on this is that TOs are obligated to run Nintendo ads for these Nintendo section events. Considering how little they actually do for the event, it's actually hilarious. Oof. Okay, so we're getting to one big one, which is a well-known thing, which is involving Project M. Project M scene was a big thing. It helped made Brawl at least better than it helped the Brawl / PMC the Brawl scene until Smash 4 came out, which, let's be honest, people were pretty much buying Brawl just to get Project M. So, This is actually a thing that's actually happened. This is actually a surprise. Project M and Project P Plus, which is another big ever mod. It says here, there was no cease and desist to Project M. What happened is that Nintendo actually intentionally stated to people that within the PM scene, that, hey, your community support of this mod is actually preventing them from working with you guys. So, naturally, the TOs and streamers that were eager on this opportunity to work with Nintendo and try to at least be a contributor to a successful Nintendo Smash circuit, which has been heard by many TOs and streamers, they thought at the time they were actually trying to do something for the good of the Smash scene in general, which actually makes sense. So, as a result, they chose to drop PM from their events and streams on the promise that Nintendo would make a Smash circuit. What happened? This naturally ended up killing off the PM scene tremendously, and it turned out that basically they were fooled. Came to find out it was for nothing. Furthermore, the loss of PM actually cost our community, ended up costing the PM. Loss of PM actually cost the community due to loss of revenue from PM attendees and viewership. So, if you were a fan of Project M at the time, you played PM competitively at the time, which was a big thing, you guys got shafted. You guys basically were told by Nintendo were given the promise of a Smash circuit, and the saddest thing is you guys just got fucked so raw. No lube, no saliva. They just bent you over and just fucked you. And I feel so sad for the people in the PM community at that point in time. I never was a part of it because I wasn't in the Smash scene at that point. Only in the competitive Smash scene at that point. But if I was a fan, if I was someone in the PM community at the time, yeah, I'd be pissed. So, that Nintendo went that far into harming the community. Next, esports teams. You'll notice a lot of top level players have been having trouble securing a team, and players on tier 1 teams have been getting let go. A long time ago, a lot of esports teams were hopeful for Smash. A lot of esports teams like Denial, COG, Counter Logic Gaming, Liquid, Cloud9, TSM, like the Optic. I'm probably sure Optic. Who knows? I don't know. Optic would have joined Smash, but if Optic or FaZe, who knows? And I'm probably sure FaZe now at this point is willing to have anybody be a part of the community of the team, basically, now. So, now, but, yeah, there was a surge of player pickups because the crazy level of fan engagement paired up with the hope of an eventual Nintendo circuit that sadly never came to be. Teams have begun to understand that Nintendo was actually never going to support the game and realize, why are we paying and supporting players to play Smash tournaments for pennies? So, Nintendo had to make the difficult decision to drop several Smashers over the last few years. So, closing thoughts by this post here is the announcement Smasher made. Keep up the passion in protecting the Smash community. Every single part of the community has been held back by Nintendo. While Nintendo is powerful, I truly believe that our love for the various Smash games is strong enough to allow us to continue on for years. Even decades into the future, we've survived this long despite many hurdles, and we can overcome the new ones too. So, that is the plot synopsis, basically. That is the big... I'll at least close it. I'll just make this in summary. Nintendo has, for years, tried to kill off the competitive Smash scene in any way, shape, or form, whether it's by talking to making a circuit and then pulling out and not following through with their deals, or just find ways of at least destroying the scene without actually destroying, while pretending that they actually love the scene, they're supporting them, and they're doing nothing. So, yeah, it's a weird thing that's going on right now, and it's that's the big thing. Is I think it's, to me, it's sad. I feel upset. I'm not upset like a lot of people. I am a little upset because the fact is, there's a lot of things at the time, back in 2016, 2017, and big part of, like, I think a chunk of 2018. I was trying to at least do be serious into, like, the competitive scene. Heck, I was even serious in doing this, streaming, game streaming, and, like, the Twitch streaming, and putting my ultimate clips on YouTube, and having fun playing the game, and also doing tournaments and stuff. And I was taking it seriously. The fact that if there was chances that there was that circuits were happening, and there was a chance that I could have at least been on. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done anything good, but who knows? Maybe there's a chance I get hot. Maybe I had maybe a day I just end up I played hot, and I end up doing very well, and I end up, who knows, I do well in one of the circuits, and maybe in the locals, one of those, like, local things, and I end up playing in that championship of that circuit, and actually I do a good performance, and who knows, stuff like that helps catapult. Stuff like that does catapult you. It ends up, there are stories of people who just are just regular people just living. I understand, esports people beforehand, you are pretty much a regular person who just love playing the video game, and you've heard that you can actually compete and actually make money off it, and it's like, oh, let me see if there's a shot. Next thing you know, you actually do good. You actually have talent for it. You end up becoming a talented player. You actually win tournaments. You beat other top players, and you end up getting exposure as this tournament as a top player, and next thing you know, you get signed to a team. You can just make a living. You don't have to work a regular day job. You can make a living playing regular games. Heck, one big esports tournament is known for Dota 2. It's called the International, and it is pretty much a big crowd-funded tournament. That's crowd-funded. The developers put a portion in, but it's also crowd-funded, and pretty much the prize pot is, like, in millions. Basically, if you win that tournament, you basically end up becoming a millionaire. The winning team gets the lion's share of that pot. So basically, you can become a millionaire, basically, off playing these games. Like, one of the fastest $1 million ever done outside of poker. And that's the thing. And that's the big thing. Me at the time, I wanted to take this seriously. I wanted to be a, competitive gamer. Now that I think that dream has kind of sailed past me, because life and a few other things have happened. Like, for example, losing a gaming computer, for example. I'm now working at home, and I work from like 6 to midnight, and I know what you're thinking, like, I'm actually recording this after midnight. I just got off work like a couple hours prior to this, just for the interest of full disclosure. So, early night for me, because of not much volume. So, early night for me. But, my point is, the fact that Smash could have been legitimized as an actual esport by Nintendo years upon years upon years, and despite numerous people from people who play this game, from people who played this game for years upon years, Smash Melee for years upon years, from people who played Smash 4 and Brawl, the people who play even Ultimate now, and everything else. They've wanted this to be a competitive scene. Wanted this competitive scene to be legit. They wanted to have a circuit, and they've actually recently had talks with Genesis and actually recently signed to other well-known Smash tournaments, trying to get. It looks like they're going to shut them down too, because if Big House was going to use Slippy, you already know Sean and Genesis were probably going to use Slippy. And there also was talks of shutting down the Smash World Tour, which was a circuit that was going to be done like this year by VGBC Video Game Boot Camps, Gimmer, and I think they were talking to them. And it's just, to me, my thing about Nintendo is, why is this wrong? Like, why is this, in your eyes, wrong? Like, we're a competitive community that is just wanting to compete, that isn't doing anything to your intellectual property. No one is trying to make money off your intellectual property. No one's pirating off of your work. No one's is doing anything for monetary gain off of it. Our thing is, hey, this is how our way we play this game is different from how most people would play the game, with probably just whatever, and like probably with 20 stocks and pretty much some of the other fun various game modes and other things. But we don't see Smash like it's some kind of just, we don't look at, my thing is, we don't play the game, we don't play the game like a normal, most people who play Smash would play it as. We play it, we have different, but we do it, the way we play it is out of love for this series. The people who made Project M wasn't doing any malicious intent. We saw a game which is the sequel, which was the sequel to Melee, and the way you did that game was the way you guys did that game differently from what Melee was. Melee felt like the potential it had. It felt a little like you guys didn't put much thought into it, and it felt like the game felt like trash. And that is some facts, because let's be honest, if you want to talk about, Bayonetta is a bad OP character, but Meta Knight, the game before that, Meta Knight was OP, was worse off in that. Let's just say that's a pot calling kettle black. Let's just be honest there. So, let's just say, and what Nintendo did, what people did was took what was in Brawl. They decided to make what you guys took, what is pretty much at the time by a lot of people in the community with Brawl, trash, and they decided to turn this piece of trash, repurposed it, and turn it into this diamond, into this hidden gem. And it's so think of something from Pawn Stars, or the people who take old cars, very old cars that are super rusty, some of the parts are not even, don't hardly ever exist, and they just make make new ones from scratch and remake the car to what it was originally. That's what the Smash Me did with Project M. That's what they did. It was nothing out of malicious intent. We pretty much wanted to do it just to show love and also showcase this game in a different light, and also make improvements on it. And one of the big things is Nintendo, what is going on in the competitive scene is our way of showing love to a game. It's our way of the way we play this game and how we interpret it is, yes, it is indeed different from the average Smash game, but it's nothing out of malicious intent. So, I don't know much to say about it. I feel bad that Nintendo is doing this thing. Now, if you're at this point, now I don't know if you watched it at this point in time, but if you're probably watching this and you're probably going, you know what, Jason, I kind of want to, I think Smash can be competitive. There's a lot of examples of great competitive melee, competitive brawl, competitive Smash 4, competitive Ultimate. There is competitive Ultimate even now. It can be an esport, and it should be an esport. It's there. Everything is there. We just need, Nintendo just doesn't want to support it. And what does that mean? And right now, we're kind of just the Melee community is just trying to yell at Nintendo, hey, we want this to be an esport. We want this to be legit. We just need you guys to support or let other people take over. Let other people take over. And right now, the way how it is just, you're practically just talking into basically a brick wall. You're pretty much speaking into the abyss right now. And that is the case with Nintendo. So, is there any way, if you're not into the competitive scene, I say you gotta make a tweet. Make a tweet. Make a tweet to Nintendo America with the hashtag Save Smash. With the hashtag Save Smash. The hashtag Free Melee, and just say, hey, what's wrong with making competitive Smash an esport? It seems like a fun concept, a fun thing, and it should be a esport. Hashtag free. You can do that. You can make a tweet. You can actually send an email directly to Nintendo of America. To their PR. There's actually a phone number where you can actually call. Their PR department about the situation. There are ways of getting Nintendo to actually be on it. The number, here's the phone number to the Nintendo of America's PR department, which is 425-861-2055. Again, it is 425-861-2055. This was actually found on Smash Bros. Reddit subreddit. So, yeah, I say this. It requires it doesn't require the eyes of a Smash community. It requires many eyes. I think many eyes. And I say this. If you don't have to be a member of the Smash community to tweet this, and to tweet this and know that what Nintendo is doing doesn't look bad, but morally it's wrong. It looks bad in hindsight, but morally it's wrong and every level. It's what they're doing is practically like some Disney levels of bullshit, basically. And Nintendo needs to, and I think it needs to change. That's something that needs to change, and it's not gonna take. And we can't just wait till the vaccine comes in, till this vaccine to the COVID-19 vaccine comes in to do something. And pretty much another lockdown or two, just the numbers go down and then the restrictions get lifted. Who knows when that will happen? Depends on how long that's going to take. Until then, right now, it requires pretty much all the eyes of at least getting Nintendo to listen and actually just step in the side and at least help us. Actually fucking help us. And right now that requires everybody. And not just, because Smash, one of the big things Smash Ultimate's concept is, everyone is here. Well, for this one, in the case of pretty much this entire situation with Nintendo, we need everyone. Everyone to come in. I say this, people in the Smash community, everyone in the FGC, video game, every video gamer, from the Call of Duty, the Halo community, the people who play League of Legends, people who play Dota 2, everyone in the Nintendo community, everyone who plays video games in general, we need y'all to come out. We need everyone. And I mean every single one to make a tweet to Nintendo of America. Hey, we need you. You are making a bad. This is a bad decision. You need to make Smash. We need Smash. We love Smash, and we want Smash to be an esport. Hashtag save Smash. Hashtag free Melee. That's what we need to do, and that requires every eyes. And at this point in time, if Nintendo, to anybody who's doing it now actively, you guys have my full support from this. You guys have my 100% support in trying to make Smash a legitimate esport, and that's something I will gladly support 100%, because this community, I love this community, and that's what I'm about. So, that being said, that's all I'm going to say. That's my I'd say this is a long hour and a half plus long tangent on what's been going on with the Smash community, and it's a big thing, and yeah, I say this. Thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I have been your host, J Money, and I would like to say thank you for watching another episode of the J Money Talks podcast. Anyways, thank you. Good night. Hashtag free Melee and hashtag save Smash. Good night, everybody. Peace.